The engineering design cycle is the unconscious process that people have used for generations to make good ideas better. The Freshman Engineering Design Day project asks freshman engineering students to produce a working model that demonstrates one of the engineering disciplines. Our team, Overflow Exception, chose to tackle the educational computer game project. The first step of the engineering design process is to ask. In the ask stage, we consider the problem along with any limitations that the problem brings with it. The educational computer game project tasked us with creating an interactive game that addressed and taught a relevant engineering subject, while also somehow being enjoyable. The challenges brought by this project include our own relative lack of skill and practice in game development, as well as the challenge of integrating educational elements while also maintaining player interest. Time was also a factor, as the Freshman Engineering Design Day does provide a deadline. The second step of the engineering design process is to imagine. In the second stage, we come up with ideas that could solve the problem, and then choose the one that best works for the problem and the group. Our imagining process was quick and easy. As a group, we wanted to make a game within our skill range with a focus on gameplay rather than graphics or excessive reading and decision-making. With this in mind, we quickly settled on a platformer-type game inspired by Mario and Math Rescue. The third step of the engineering design process is to plan. The planning stage focuses on diagramming the course of action in development of the product and gathering all necessary materials needed. This was a very short stage for our group, with our needed materials including exactly one piece of software, and our course of action being mostly try things until they work. The fourth step of the engineering design process is creation. The creation stage is, as you can probably guess, the implementation of the planning stage, in which the product is developed, observed, and tested. These observations are then used to discuss improvements, leading to steps 5 through infinity. The fifth step, and the most critical, is the improvement stage. In improvement, the process is repeated again, and with more exacting precision, to target specific imperfections in the product. The improvement stage helps to ensure that the final product is as ideal as it can be made within the given constraints. Our design challenges demonstrate the process of improvement.
We are proud of our finished FED product, and we think we did pretty well in the FED competition. The next year's freshmen should think about the following advice before starting their FED project. Start early, read all of the project criteria, and make sure you know what you're doing in the project.
One of the major flaws that we noticed in our design right away is that the educational concept, the part that tests you on what you've learned, which is retrieving the keys, it's actually very possible and very easy to cheat. And I found this out when I tested this on a friend. What you can do is, sure, you have the question here and you can choose one of the answers, but you can also choose, okay, answer 1, okay, that wasn't it because I popped right back here in front of the key. I'll just go ahead and try answer number 2. Nope, that wasn't it either. I'll just go ahead and try answer number 3 then, and just see if that's right. Yep, and that's the right answer. But I didn't learn anything from that because I didn't have any sort of consequence for not answering the question correctly. So what we were able to do very close to the end as a minor change was, now if you get the wrong answer to a question here, in this case I'm programming a robot to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. What's the first step? The first step is not make a sandwich because that's not specific enough. If I choose that, I'm thrown back to the start of the level. And that's just kind of more motivation to actually read the question and actually apply the educational concepts, which are the main purpose of the game. If we had to do this project all over again, what we mainly would have focused on is making this game more interactive, more of an interactive story perhaps, because what we noticed as people were playing the game is there's a whole lot of reading involved and not a whole lot of interaction until you get into the level and have to know how to play. For example, in this part, this is the backstory. The crisis has arisen about the world, just kind of all in word format. This is how you play. All of the concepts of the game are thrown at you in the beginning, And then this is the first introduction to a computer programming concept. But if you haven't read the stuff before, which most people didn't, then you're not going to know that this is important. So you'd skip this too. And many people were just kind of confused and really disinterested in the actual educational concept, which led to a lot of frustration when they got the wrong answer here on the answers for the keys. So if we had to change this, what I think we would do is make more of a story involved, perhaps a video explaining the actual situation of maybe the robot or the fact that everyone's forgotten about how to use computer science, which is the premise of the game. That way, people would be more engaged and more interested in what's going on, and I think that would help to spark the true interest in computer science that we were going for in this game.